One moment. Sending it to YouTube. Da, da, da. All right, we are live.
We are live. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. It's April 10th, 7 o'clock. We have a bit of a change of plans for this evening. So our the Chief of Staff from the Missouri Treasurer's Office, who was giving our presentation on Mo-Able accounts tonight, I received a text that he has sick kids and a mom, so he will not be able to join us. Hopefully we can convince him to come, or the treasurer's office to send someone now for the May meeting instead. But we will go ahead and share the slides that are already part of the slideshow, so you will have some information to go ahead and look at. Thank you. So let's go ahead and do roll call for this evening. We do have 2 excused absences, Holly Tinker and Lauren Todd. It's all on you, Denise.
Okay. All right. From Bayless, Maria Martinez. Clayton, Christina Blankenship.
Here.
Ferguson, Florida, Denise Percy here. Kirkwood, Dwayne Lay.
I am present.
Thank you. Ellen Reed.
Here.
Mary Fitzgerald.
Mary is no longer on the pack. She left her child left SSD.
Oh, I thought, okay. Maple Richmond Heights, Kim Gifford. Normandy, Deanna Davis. Parkway, Lindsay Wood. Ashley Jamison. Pattonville, Kamisha Carter. Rockwood, Rebecca, you're here, obviously. Casey Mills. I thought I saw her. Yes.
I'm here.
And then Wester Groves, Maureen O'Neill.
I'm here.
Awesome. Hey, 1 second. 1, 2. Okay, we are short by 1 district for quorum. So we just can't vote on anything tonight.
This is Maria Martinez. I'm with Bayless. I'm here. I think I got on after you called me.
I take that back. We now have quorum.
And Deanna as well.
I am. I'm sorry.
My late people. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. Okay, let's move on then and get a little business out of the way. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from February?
It's Maureen. Motion to approve.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Deanna, second.
Thanks, Deanna. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion. Thank you. Motion passed. And may we have a motion to approve the proposed agenda for this evening, noting that the able presenter, I just got a text and he will not be joining us this evening.
I'll make the motion. Ms. Dwayne.
Thank you, Dwayne.
I second. This is Maria.
Thank you, Maria. All in favor? Motion passed. All right. Now, before we get into the superintendent and legislative report, oh, Wendy, could you put the slideshow up? We had membership renewals for the SSD pack, and we're going to put a slideshow up here. This second slide. Oh, let's go one forward maybe. There we go. So these are our membership renewals. Maria Martinez from Bayless, Christina Blankenship from Clayton, Denise Bursey, Ferguson Florissant, Deanna Day Davis, Normandy, Casey Mills, Rockwood, and Rebecca Fleeg, myself from Rockwood. And according to the bylaws, we are all renewed members. Thank you very much for being a part of the pack, each and every one of you. We also had received one new self-nomination, and that is from Tamiko Jones, who I just received a text. I believe she's trying to log in. So let's see if she's on in the next minute or so. Some of you may remember Tamiko. She was one of the presenters recently. She is not only a parent and new owner, she's also a family navigator from Sunny Hill.
She's on.
Oh, she's on. Okay. So Dwayne Lane, Mr. Parliamentarian, we need a simple majority vote to get Tamiko in. And Tamiko, would you like to introduce yourself or say a couple of words?
Sure, I'd be more than happy to. Sorry, I was having some technical difficulties despite
No
my best
problem.
efforts. Sure, yeah. Thanks for the introduction. As Rebecca was saying, I'm aware of the pack. I'm pretty active in the community, working in the IDD space. I was able to present with some colleagues of mine not too long ago on kind of my work role in the community, but I would really love the opportunity to become more involved in the Parent Advisory Council. I just think that it's just a really good opportunity. My son is at New Owner. I adore New Owner and the things going on there, and would love the opportunity to be with y'all and see where things go.
Thank you, Tamiko. I'm very, very excited to see your name pop up. You'd be a great asset to our group here at the PAC. So, Dwayne, can you help with it? Is it a roll call for simple majority vote?
So I was just going to say, I don't think we need to do a secret ballot for this, right? We can just do a roll call on it.
Yes.
Well,
There is no secret ballots within our organization.
All right, just making sure.
It's either roll call or a yay nay.
It's too bad. It would make things more interesting. Okay, so hey, Denise, could you help us out with the roll call vote for Tamiko?
I sure can.
Thank
Okay.
you.
So for new membership for Tamiko Jones, starting off with Bayless, Maria Martinez,
Yes.
Clayton, Christina Blankenship,
Yes.
Denise Bursey, Ferguson Florissant, yes. Ellen Reed, Kirkwood,
Yes. Oh, I can't vote. Only one person from Kirkwood can vote. So Dwayne's voting.
Oh, Ellen, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I had you as the voting rep, Ellen. So take that back to Dwayne. Dwayne?
Well, so we're both from Kirkwood. So you get either way, you're getting a yes from Kirkwood.
Okay, cool. Deanna Davis, Normandy,
Yes.
Casey Mills, Rockwood,
Yes.
and Maureen O'Neill, Webster Groves.
Yes.
All right, the yeas have it. Welcome, Tamiko.
Fantastic. Welcome, Tamiko. We're very happy to have you.
Thank you.
Yay. Okay, well, now that our beginning business is covered, we are going to move on to Chief Pendergrass for the superintendent report and the legislative report. Let me mute.
Okay, let me know if you guys hear a echo. No echo? Perfect. All right. Well, I want to first apologize. Superintendent Macklin left work about 5:30, 6 o'clock sick and said, hey, you got to take this for me, Wendy. So I was like, no problem. I got it. So I'm going to do my best. I cannot do as well as Dr. Macklin, but I will try my hardest. So the updates, we just reported, Dr. Molly Bolton, she's also on here, reported to, in a work study last night, our strategic plan and CSIC plan to the Board of Education. We are in the second year of a 5-year plan. We're actually looking at possibly adding, we want more family feedback and sharing it with our families. So figuring out a way we could possibly share the strategic plan updates and CSIP plans with our families is coming. So be on the lookout. We are currently, myself and Chief Moore, who is also on here, are working as the executive leadership team, looking at budgeting and staffing throughout the district. We're getting ready to kick off graduation and annual staff awards and salute season. So we have Rosemary Zanders, we have Key to the Classroom, we have Building Block, all of those awards coming up. For the third time this year, I know Ms. Jones is probably going to clap as well. New Owner High School has been named State School of Character for the third year in a row. Because they have done it 3 years consecutively, they are now eligible, I do believe, for the next 5 years to keep that title. So that's very impressive. New Owner and Northview are the 2 schools in our district that currently carry that status with being schools that support students with special education needs. Our upcoming events, for those of you that want to learn how riveting our curriculum is, we have our curriculum review night that's coming up April 16th. It is at SSD schools. I'm not sure, Dr. Grigsby, do you know what school it's at?
No, I don't. I think it's on Zoom, but I can double check.
Okay.
It is via Zoom, and you can access the link on our website. And if you go to the calendar on our website, it'll have the curriculum review night, and you can access the Zoom link there.
Thanks, Molly.
Yes, thank you, ladies, where we will be sharing the curriculum for SSD schools and programs. And then right around the beginning of May 2nd, from 5 to 7, we will also be sharing the updated curriculum that we have for our career and technical education programs as well. FACE will be having a virtual open house, which I'm sure the ladies of FACE will be talking about that later on in our presentation. Most importantly, Rebecca, PAC end of the year party, Brownie with the Board, will be May 8th. It will actually be here, and it is in person. We have sent out flyers. We'll show later on in our presentation. We also will have Brownies with the Board, so our board members will be here. We'll have resources and some activities for families to do, but it'll kind of be an end of the year celebration and a meet and greet for all of our members. And then, of course, the last day for our SSD schools is May 23rd. Please look accordingly for our partner district families and follow their calendars as well. Legislative update, now that's me, is Senate Bill 727. So it's 727 is the omnibus bill that is possibly going to pass both the House and Senate. It is a hodgepodge of things. Notably, it talks about teacher salaries, a minimum teacher salary. It talks about the charter schools. It just has a lot of information in it. Our representative, Bill Gamble, says that if any bill is going to be placed into law, it's probably going to be Senate Bill 727 this year. So I have a link for it. It is 142 pages. So at your leisure, if you would like to review it and see in depth what all it is, that would be great. Now our PAC president.
I have to say, Wendy, my son saw that little meme you had, and he said he saw that in school, and I was curious where that came from. Big hit at home. Big hit at home. Okay. Who is it?
Saturday.
Oh.
Yeah, the Saturday video. No.
Tell me later. Okay. Okay, so PAC president update. Executive committee nominations. So the floor has been open for executive committee nominations. We have not received any nominations for executive committee so far. So The executive committee positions are 1-year terms. They begin on June the 1st. We have president, vice president, recording secretary, parliamentarian, and corresponding secretary. For the PAC to continue, we need the two positions of recording secretary and president to be filled, which is doable. Denise and I both started this year just by ourselves, recording secretary and president. So I would like to take a minute here and open the floor. Do we have, and remember, we are a small group of SSD PAC members, so there's not a huge pool of people to pull upon here. So even if you're just thinking about this and want to discuss it further, if we have any interest in the role of corresponding secretary for the coming year, do we have any interest in that from the current members? What about parliamentarian? I'm not sure, Dwayne, if you have plans to run again, or if there's anyone who else would like to nominate themselves for the role of parliamentarian.
If you need me, I'll come back. How's that?
Me or the PAC?
Go ahead.
And just a reminder here that these elections will take place the elections for the EC, the executive committee, will take place at our May in-person meeting, our May 8th meeting. So it's right around the corner. So Dwayne has volunteered. Thank you, Dwayne, very
That
much.
feels like a strong way to put it, but okay.
Okay, moving on and upwards to the position of recording secretary. And I'm not sure what, Denise, I'm not sure what your plans are. You could do any position. You've been on the PAC. You know all the workings of the PAC.
I do. So I will serve on the exec committee. I'm going to wait to see if anybody else would like to step up for some positions. If not, then I will fill in where need to be. And I see people nodding their head, and then Rebecca, I think you're trying to think I'm about to take your president spot.
Yes.
So.
I think you would be a fantastic
Sure I'm setting
president.
myself up for that. But yes, if I know for the PAC to run, we need recording secretary and president. So if we get to that part and nobody else steps up, I am more than willing to help out as always. So
fantastic.
So I don't
So
want to discourage anyone from doing it. So
okay. So last call here for anyone else who might be interested in the recording secretary position.
Look, I don't know if you guys have any like limits on how long people have to be a part of this to be part of the exec committee. I would be happy to serve in whatever capacity needed. And just for people that don't know me, I do run other groups in the community with partner agencies, and I'm a president of a entire coalition of providers locally. So you can check my credentials.
Yes, Tamiko, this is very exciting. Is there a role that you're drawn to, or are you just so new? But you will be a month in for elections, so.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, I don't, yeah, it's really, I mean, I don't really have a preference per se, but I'm willing to help in whatever capacity is needed, so.
This is fantastic news. Okay. And where were we? Where were we, Denise? Were we still on recording secretary or vice?
Yeah. So now you're going to vice president. Yes.
Vice president. So Deanna, I'm not seeing her on my screen here, but currently it's Deanna's the vice president. I don't know if she has plans, Deanna, if you have plans to continue next year, or if anyone else is interested in filling the role of vice president.
So Rebecca, I don't know if you're checking your chat at the same time, but I think you're getting some messages there.
Oh, thank you very much, Adrienne. Oh, we have some interest from our friend at Bayless, Maria. She's going to check out corresponding secretary. You know, Maria, that would be great. We have not had a corresponding secretary all year. And I think that'd be a great way to get started in the executive committee. And then we have another message. Oh, this message is about, you all can look at that in the chat. Is not related to executive committee. Okay, so, and I didn't see Deanna. All right. So moving on to the role of president.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rebecca. I'm here. I thought you were giving other people a chance to express interest.
Oh, I was. It's a one-year term, but I was wondering if you plan to run again for vice president. Are you interested in staying on the executive committee?
So I plan on staying unless anyone else wants to run.
Fantastic. All right, on to president. I'm going to sit here in silence for a minute. Is there anyone interested in stepping up in the role of president? If I can do it, you all can do it. Well, it looks like we have right here on my screen, I have Denise and Tamiko. So let's see, 1 second.
And I'll be honest, I'm not scared. You're just gonna have to, I'd have to get, with you and the other members of the executive committee just to ensure that expectations were clear and all of that stuff.
Yes.
But
okay, fantastic. So it looks like potentially we might have Maria as corresponding secretary, Dwayne Lay as parliamentarian on the ballot, recording secretary, vice president Deanna, president. So president and recording secretary Tamiko and Denise. Maria, was that for corresponding for secretary? Yes. Okay, so I think we'll, I'm not hearing any, Denise?
Nope, that's it. So if you're interested in running for something on the slate, if you could just send me a message so I can notate it so we can be prepared for like the May meeting. And if you're needing any information about like what those roles entail, things like that, we're more than happy to like get together and kind of go over that and just make sure everybody understands. I know sometimes it's harder to, want to say all of that out in front of everyone before you have all the details. So definitely feel free to send me a private chat and we can connect either after this call or later this week. And then also on our PAC website in the bylaws, it does list what the roles are and what those duties are. And then we also do go through a transition period. So during the summer, who's ever transitioning to those roles, like you'll have the tools and the support that you need as well in those roles. And also remember, like all of us started at some point and didn't know anything about it. Rebecca's done a tremendous job this year coming into this president's role and not being on the PAC prior or exec board. So I know, like she said, if she can do it, anyone can do it. It's just wanting to have that commitment and support and, wanting to do best for all of our children that's partnered with SSD.
Well said, Denise. And yes, and I'm here as well to answer any questions. We will hold your hand through it. And one more thing to note is there is an executive committee self-nomination form on the PAC website as well. So along with the bylaws and description of the duties of the role, there is that form to fill out. So fantastic. I am extremely excited. Thank you everyone who stepped up. It's potential to be a fantastic PAC next year. So let's move on then to the May 8th end of year party, which I'm hoping that you will all be here for, be attending. I've had a couple of people commit. So please maybe let me know in the chat if you are still committed to coming on May 8th. We have some vendors set up at the beginning of the evening. We have family navigation coming. We have Face Adrian has a I can't recall the name of that organization right now. Well, I'll send more details to come about the vendors that will be there, and we'll have the SSD Board of Education members, governing council members. There's going to be we are planning to have tables set up, broken up within the SSD Board of Education regions. So a table for Parkway and Rockwood, tables that are clearly labeled for you to find the SSD Board of Education members that represent you, as well as to find other families. And we want district PAC, district parent groups to be there for the new families who come. So please come. And that's that. And moving on then. Okay, so on to the survey results. I think a lot of you have, I have sent out the, we had, the SSD pack did perform 2 surveys. The second survey was the parent community information seeking for the information for special education kit. We'll do that next. This one is survey number 1. There was a survey that the PAC sent out. It was a DPAC data gathering mirror survey. So there was a set of surveys sent out to the partner district directors, and the others sent out, the other part of the mirror survey was sent out to district parent groups. The point of this survey was to establish which districts, partner districts had parent groups. There wasn't really a concrete roster. We also wanted to discover, you know, how those district parent groups operated. Do they have Facebook groups, websites? Do they meet in person? How do they advertise? Are they supported by the partner district? How are they supported by the SSD personnel? What successes may they have had? How do parents find out about them? And on the end of that survey, we also put a question in about how families are made aware of FACE. So we're kind of, in this survey, we were trying to kind of establish in what ways family resources were being shared with families. Family resources being district parent groups, parent support groups, SSD PAC information, and FACE as well. And one reason we wanted to do this as well was because there's really not a solid place to find a lot of district PAC information. And a lot of people are completely unaware of the SSD PAC. So this first slide here, this was interesting. It shows that most partner districts, you know, the reason, and I'll say this especially for Tamika, who's here, we finally have representation for an SSD school. We don't hear a lot, as president this year, I have not heard a lot of complaints, or maybe any complaints from any of the SSD schools. So this is you seem to be, hopefully you can share that more with us in the future, but you seem to be well connected to your resources that exist. So sometimes in the partner district, that's not always the case. So that's why these went only to the partner districts here. And what we found out was that families are really getting their information mainly through the SSD Spotlight newsletter and the director's page or director's newsletter. Next slide, please. And here's the same thing for the PAC. So the PAC information is not really being directly told to families. It's there. It's on the ssdmo.org website. It's on in the SSD Spotlight, and it's in the director's newsletter or director's page, but it's not being directly explained or shared to parents. So next slide. And another question we tapped on, are partner district principals and counselors able to direct families to FACE, to the SSD PAC, to the district parent groups? Are they aware? If you have a family, a new family, incoming family who comes to school and they're lost and confused and want parent support or want support from, you know, the kind of support FACE provides, and they go to their homeschool principal or their counselor, will those people be able to share these resources? And you see here director's responses on the left and parent group responses on the right. And in my experience, it hasn't been the case. And I was curious to see if that is the case in other partner districts. So it looks like there's some progress here, but maybe not as much as we would like. Next slide, please. And this all ties back. The reason these surveys came out is all ties back to our SSD PAC initiative of this year, which was Pathways to Self-Determination. Next slide. And just as a recap, the whole point of this initiative was to kind of bridge the gap in the partner districts to not only kind of system update our systems to be prepared for our students to really be prepared for a modern disability outcome, like competitive integrative employment, to be able to take advantage of VSP programs and to be aware of, you know, modern disability, but also to engage the partner district in things like counselors having face brochures, and principals being able to direct families to resources. Next slide, please. So this is just as another snapshot of these were some of the initiative ideas at the beginning of the year, and meeting with leadership. Next slide, please. We had an idea of this just introduction kit. So in the partner districts, what I found and what the next survey really shows is that there's not a strong introduction to the system. So no one explicitly says, hey, you're in a dual district system. There's SSD and your homeschool. And if you need help, you're going to have to go to ssdmo.org. Or if you need resources, your school counselor might not be able to provide, but here's FACE. So in a system where veteran teachers and principals and administration still have a hard time getting a handle on how the system works, having new parents come in, this kind of hand-holding introduction is I had assumed it was very needed from what my experience and the experience of people I talked to. And so the survey results show that some of this is true. And so the idea was, what would happen if we had an introduction, if we provided this to the partner districts? In your first IEP, your first day at school, you were told, this is how it works. There's two systems here. This is how they work together. This is what you do. Here's where you go. So this was an idea we had. And in the red and blue here, if this was created or something similar was created, it could really knock off a lot of these asks in the initiative and there'd be progress. So the blue things that are in blue already exist. These are things that are on ssdmo.org or that are out there and that are available, but parents just are not getting them for some reason. And the red things are the things that seem to be missing that could be created to help. Next slide, please. So the survey number 2, we sent out to families, educators, support staff, SSD, families who've been through the system, asking, what would have helped you? How could your experience have been better? What did you need to know? What did you tell new families when they come in to help them? And Adrian, I'm not sure how many people responded. I think it was a good amount.
You had 168 respondents on that survey.
So not as much as maybe we would have liked, but it was a good amount. I know a lot of districts sent to their staff and teachers, which I was hoping that would happen. Once again, this was to try to find out what families need, not just me and who I know, but families in different districts. What do they need? And the results confirm a disconnect from existing resources, meaning that the things these families want and need, they're there. They're already there. And there was a confirmation that people wanted an introduction, understanding how the dual systems work. They do want the navigation ladder tool. There were quite a few comments about wanting to know what happens in high school ahead of time, and also being able to find district support groups. Next slide. This is just about the data of what I just said. So the number one voted was I can't see underneath my screen here. Introduction to how SSD works within the partner districts. That was the number one thing. And my goodness, I think that if parents were told that in some way, it would really help everything out. Okay, I know that I didn't know about ssdmo.org until my daughter was in 4th grade, which seems insane. I don't know how that was missed, but maybe that happens in other places too. Next slide. You can look at these later too. These are the responses of what would you put in this introduction kit. Lots of good information there. And here, Adrian put this here, top 5 ones, IEP trainings, which we all know they're all out there, but maybe parents need an introduction. Parent groups, IEP advocate resources, transition resources. Next slide, please. And this will be emailed to you as well, as you can look. Next slide, please. So 5 big takeaways. Adrian, did you want to speak on this or do you want me to go over it?
So I can just tell you that this was all of your open-ended comments. So I think you had a red slide that had all of the data. But what we did was we just synthesized all of your open-ended comments and came up with these top 5 just to align that families want the clear and upfront information about services and personnel, who to call for what and when, similar to your navigation ladder, the decision tree. Families were looking for visuals, who's really touching my child, who is the staff member supporting the learning or supporting which area of my child's programming, and in their building, right? Knowing the people in their general ed population as well. A pure and a regular and predictable plan of communication and a method, especially for young people who were nonverbal. And then equal distribution of materials and communication. That communication is not siloed for students who are receiving special education services. So a lot of this is communication, who to talk to, where do I get the service that I need for my student? So it really parallels a lot of the survey data that we're receiving.
Thank you so much, Adrian. That's right. I had highlighted some parent comments, and I was trying to figure out how to share those. Yeah, so exactly. Next slide, please. Okay, so this lastly here, going forward, this is some ideas here that takeaways from me as well. And so here you have, if you see to the right, the information flow, we see the majority of some of this information is coming through SSD Spotlight, the director's newsletter, and ssdmo.org. If you are a new family coming to the system who does not understand what SSD does, who thinks you're a Parkway kid, you're not going to ssdmo.org. You don't know what a director is, and you might think the SSD Spotlight is related to you. You might think that's crazy, but I think the majority of the families I know don't know what the SSD Spotlight is. They don't know who the director is. They never go to ssdmo.org because they don't understand. So an introduction could really help this. And to the left here, you have if you go in school, who are you talking to? If you don't know anything from anything, you go to your school for the first day, who are you talking to? Your teachers, the paras, the therapists, and then your homeschool principals and counselors. The area coordinator, rarely, depending on if you're having, issues or need help, you might talk to them more than others. Some people never meet the director. So here's how the parents are getting their contacts, right? Teachers, this is the kind of area. And then on the right, here's where the information's coming. So it seems to me a good road for progress would be to somehow use the introduction resources through who the families are speaking with. I think that might also go a long way to kind of fix that idea of separation of SSD and partner district, so that would just be a suggestion from the SSD PAC. And I think that the introduction to the dual district system, if that's put in place somehow, people will know who the director is. They will understand that they should go to that ssdmo.org is there, and they can go to it and face and all that. So that was my takeaway. Wanted to share that with you all. Next slide. Okay, and here we have our missing chief of staff for this evening. Hopefully we can convince him to come in May, since he's not able to be here. So Winnie and I want to share this. So Mo-Able accounts. Dwayne might be able to chime in here. Adrian might be able to chime in. If you're an adult with disability, look this all up on your own. If you're an adult with disability and you are getting, what is it? Is it Medicaid? But I'm not there yet. So if you make a certain amount of money, there's a cap. You can lose some of your, is it services or you can lose some. It's a sad state of Medicaid. It's a thing. Tamiko's here.
Yeah, so it's typically about $2,000 in the actual person who's disabled's name. We tell them, do we try to keep it below that? And a good way to protect that is through a Mo-Able account. And typically we suggest that folks, if about $17,000 and less goes in Mo-Able account, over 17, we might want to look into a special needs trust, which needs to be drawn up by an attorney. That's all.
Thank you, Tamiko. It's fantastic. So this Able account, I know enough about to tell you that the Able account was a way to try to help families, to help adults with disabilities, have money to live without impacting their eligibility for their benefits, right? So it's not, we need to fix it at the, the large level, but this can help in the meantime for SSI and Medicaid.
I can just say, and I don't want to bogart this, but
Go ahead.
no, so you might be like, why would I even want an ABLE account or Medicaid? So in the state of Missouri, currently where we live, St. Louis, in order to access case management, like through DMH and get funded supports through them, most of their services are through waivers, which are actually Medicaid waivers. So in order to get access to case management supports, you have to have Medicaid. In order to get Medicaid, you have to meet income criteria. So if we're looking at individuals who are under the age of 18, we're looking at whole family and their income. Anyone over 18 is considered their own household, even if they're living at home with someone, even if there's a guardianship in place, things like that. So individual 18 and older is their own household. Many individuals will then qualify for SSI, meaning they have not worked enough to have paid into the system. And then we take their assets in some cases to qualify for SSI, you have to stay under that about $2,000 threshold of any, or to qualify for to qualify for SSI, that's based on your income. And then to qualify for Medicaid, two separate entities, you have to stay under $2,000 or less of things that are in your actual name. So personal
And
property.
Tamiko, would people say this is enough money to live?
No.
This is the problem. In plain speaking, I'm not an expert, but basically the problem is it's not enough money to live, right? And
you can protect it in an ABLE account. So anything that's put into an ABLE account is protected. So you can have assets in that ABLE account, money, and doesn't count against you when Medicaid's coming to look at your finances. So that's the whole purpose of the ABLE account. Is to put that money over there and protect it.
In mom language from my, can you fast forward the slide? There's also something cool about ABLE account, which I don't know if he has a slide on here. Is this the next one? Okay, here's his eligibility slide. Let's do the next slide too. Formatting's off. Let's do the next one. There's also something cool about ABLE accounts, which I'm not going to go into much here, but there is it's like a debit card. What?
I'm looking for it.
Shamiko's nodding her head. So for my memory, there's like a debit card, and you can control, let's see if there's something on here. You can control how much is on there. Family can put money in ABLE accounts. Don't take my word for any of this, but here's account requirement cost. Let's go to the next slide. Withdrawals have to be used on these expenses. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, here we go. Have questions? You can call them. Here's a fantastic number. So let's call them, and hopefully he can come out to the May meeting, because if I remember correctly, there was a really cool part about this program, which was a kind of a debit card. Tamiko, do you know about this? The debit card part of the ABLE account?
Yeah, a little bit. Some of my families have used this with work and just people I know personally. So yeah, you can I think there's some parameters you can set on there, but I also know that they're pretty particular about what you spend this on, so you can't go like blow it at the casino or whatever. Like you have to spend it on those specific categories, so they're pretty strict about that. But it really is a great option for families who want to have some protection for things that their loved one might need. It's a great way to stash away some money for them. So
yeah, I'm afraid I'm doing a terrible job of explaining how great that program is, but it really is great. Hopefully maybe next year, if they can't come in May, maybe next year they can come and be a guest speaker and explain better. Thank you so much, Shamika, for jumping in there. All right. On to Miss Eaglin.
All right, so good evening, everyone. We're going to share just a few slides with you. I know Rebecca just spoke about a lot of data from the SSD PAC surveys, and I wanted to give just a moment to the Family and School Partnership surveys that families completed for SSD. So this survey was, I think, deployed early January through February. and we had approximately 700 families across the county complete this. It was not a great response, but please make sure you share with other families that we do use this information, that we use this data to plan for upcoming years. So district-wide, when we talk about our partner districts and SSD schools, 92% of the respondents said school climate is something that is favorable. So they feel welcome, culture and home languages are valued. Those were big pieces. We also have family engagement, that they're working with the staff collaboratively, that they think events and different things are scheduled appropriately for them. They scored 85% favorably there. So there are things that we can look at and say we are doing well. There are also things, if you look at the survey data, that talks about what your data also says, and communication is always a big one. And it's not necessarily communication as we talk about it regarding websites and different things, but it's really staff communication. It's district, school, classroom on all of those levels. In this section, it also includes our strategies for success in learning shared with me for my students. So it really ties into that family engagement piece of data sharing, as well as those common pieces of communication that we're talking about. So in response to that, if you can switch to the next slide. So in response to that, we did have a few open-ended questions ourselves. And so two of those questions were, what are some of the barriers that you are experiencing with family engagement? And then what are the things that you think we can do as a district to improve family engagement? So again, it goes back to collaborative communication on all levels, right? That intro kit, those conversations we need to have, starting in classrooms, schools, and then broader district-wide leadership. Positive relationships. I don't want anyone to think that this data came out horrible. It came out great. We heard that there are some things in some places people do not want to change because there are amazing things happening in various districts. In fact, I will say that most of our districts scored pretty high. The learning strategies was something else that came out, and then providing those community resources and navigation. So those were the themes that came out of the open-ended questions, things that have been barriers, and then the answers really just mirrored that. So our team, FACE, as well as the district SSD as a whole, will plan to continue to work on these items in the upcoming year. You can go ahead and switch to the next slide. These are the things that we are committed to doing and that we are currently working on. And I know Rebecca spoke about this. We've shared a lot of the pieces. We've shared this across our strategic teams, how we plan to create the family support checklist or the intro to SPED kit. We're going to sort of leave that up to our great communications department to determine what we name the tool. But it is about sharing this information with families as soon as they enter into our system and our services. We do have other programs that are looking at doing this, but of course, having multiple ways and entry points to support families. Again, ways that we can actually get into the school building, FACE ourselves to talk to counselors with the help of our chief of partner districts and her staff that she's supporting, how we can build those direct relationships in the partner districts to share this information. And then, of course, continuing our collaboration with the SSD PAC and helping to support the development of DPACs across the county. So these are things that we are continuing to do, and we will continue to do so intentionally. Last but not least, we do want to share some upcoming events and learning opportunities that are still available for families. Tomorrow, actually, we will be having a family cafe on Thursday night at North Tech High School, and that will take place from 6 to 8 p.m. Families are still welcome to register and participate in that opportunity. We will begin our Family Leadership Institute next Wednesday. We currently have 14 to 15 families registered for the Family Leadership Institute. There is still space for families to participate in that learning where we will discuss self-determination and transition on the first night. The second night, we will talk a little more about special education process and IEPs, planning for success for your student. And then the third night, we will look a little more at charting the life course tools and how those tools can be integrated into your students' IEP, and then planning for their future and in other agencies to support their care. And then we do offer this virtual workshop on May the 7th, titled Self-Care Isn't Selfish by the National Alliance of Mental Illness. So we are inviting our staff, our families, community members, everyone really to participate in that session. And I think that is it for us. And of course, we just had a great webinar last week or earlier this week. It's all blending together with MoFact, I believe it was. Latricia, you can help me if I am wrong, but they also shared great information on the 12 steps of advocacy with our families. And you should be able to find a recording of that within the next week on SSD's YouTube channel. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. And I want to be sure everyone here knows that during the last year, the support and responsiveness from SSD, from FACE, from Chief Pendergrass, it's been wonderful to have it kind of insight and see what they're doing, the good work that's being done. So thanks again, Adrian. So much good work being done for the next year. It looks like next on the list we have yes.
Rebecca, real fast. Everything you guys have talked about are really great ideas. And I think one thing you guys need to realize is you have these great ideas. You rely on local PACs sometimes to implement them. SSD puts so much information. Like I just looked at the newsletter that comes out from SSD through the
Spotlight?
The monthly newsletter that comes out. It's so overridden with information that parents just can't. They're telling me they're not reading it. It used to be no information, and now it's too much information. It's like it's flyers, 17 flyers from FACE, and it's like I get it. They're very important, but as a parent, you can't even get through all of it. What I want is an email from my case manager or from the teacher with my kid.
Yes.
Feeling welcome to SSD. That is a meeting with your case manager to walk through, not another welcome packet, not another this, because people get that. Don't push on somebody else. Nobody wants that. They want to sit in a meeting and have somebody walk them through and say, here are your things. That's where the disconnect keeps happening. Or they say, here's the thing. And then like right now, I can't tell you all the parents, they can't get people to email them back about what's going on with their kid in the classroom. And it goes back to the trust, the foundation, and everything. So it's like this information we share here is great for the 30 people that log on this call. And I know people can go listen.
Oh, yes. No, you're 100% right. And don't make the mistake of thinking it's just the people on this call. So what you said is 100% right, Ellen. And did the recent meeting that we had, I said this exact same thing, and I related it to our app in our district called Parent Square. So we had this new app in our district called Parent Square, and there's different settings. You get whole district information, you get school specific information, you get class specific information, and you get parent to teacher or teacher to parent information. And what happens is there's so much information that no one even looks at the district, and then they stop looking at the whole school. You know, it's the same thing. And that's why, if you remember that slide we had, I don't know if you saw, Ellen, did you see the slide about like the contact of parents? It's teachers, then area coordinators, then this. And the other slide was showing just what you're saying, that everything is in the director's newsletter, which people aren't looking at, and the SSD spotlight, which I don't want to upset someone and say no one's looking at it, but the majority of people, it's too overwhelming. It feels disconnected. So
all coming at the same time. And that was the other comment I was going to make is really next year, SSD needs to sit down, PAC, FACE, when the surveys all came out. Because there were like 3 of them out there all at one time.
That was my fault, Ellen. I'll take responsibility
but
for
you know
that.
what?
No, the pact put one out.
But Kirkwood puts one out too. I mean, all of a sudden you're just surveyed out as a parent and you're not trying to diss SSD, but you've got your home district, you got SSD, you've got PAC, you've got your teachers are sending you surveys. I mean, I get it, but it's like everybody should get 1 week a year that you can send a survey because it's too hard. It's too
Well,
hard.
I think that might be, I think that might be something that would be impossible with all the different partner districts. But as far as what you said before, I think that the FACE and SSD does have all that information. I think that these surveys and the data, and also the survey that FACE did, is giving all of them good information. Those surveys are very important. And hopefully that data is not going to stay just with us people who logged into the PAC, but that's going right to SSD, and they have that information and they have that data. And FACE is actually the one who actually made the survey. So that information, Adrian has said, that information is going to be put to good use. So all we can do.
And FACE is amazing. FACE is like the secret sauce, and parents learn about FACE and it's eye-opening for so many parents. The problem is your case managers and your teachers don't understand FACE, and they don't push it enough and make it a place where people go and learn. There's
not connected. You're right. They're not giving that information could be given. That goes back to that same slide. If you could have the teachers, and if it's coming from the teachers, it feels like it's your own, it's a different point of contact. So I think you're absolutely right. Thank you.
So can I just jump in really quickly and say, and I see Latrice's hand, thank you for that feedback. We 100% agree with you, and we know that the classroom is the best place for family engagement to begin. It is our hope, and please know that we always take your feedback seriously, and we are really trying to engage teachers, the special education coordinators, from the directors. The goal really is for that information to come out of the classroom as well, because we know that that is where families are looking a little more at the communication. So we're sharing it sort of top down in a hope that it reaches those classrooms, and maybe it's not. And Rebecca left me with some really important words during our last conversation, and I don't know, I hope it's okay for me to say this, but she said, "You guys are doing the work. I needed to reach my child's class." And so I came back and I told our team that, and I said, that stayed with me. Like, how do we get it to be more intentional in those classrooms? We know that's where it has to live for it to grow. So thank you guys for sticking with us, but it is something that we are really working on making a success.
Adrian, I'm sorry, I know Latrice wanted to talk. Adrian, I think you guys are doing a great job, and I'm going to be rude. I blame the teachers. I know they're overworked. I know they're short-staffed, but you know what? The communication gets to them. They don't push it out. I mean, we as a PAC ask them to send things out, or because of HIPAA, we can't, and they don't. And we're like, you have parents that we know need to be engaged, and they don't. And so I think that's a bigger problem that you can't solve. And Rebecca, when you say it has to start with the teachers, it does, but this is not a problem we can solve. That has to come area coordinators, directors, and SSD itself. So I appreciate that. I'm just telling you, I think it's a really tough hill to climb when you don't get to control those people. You control us, the parents. Well, you don't control anybody, let's be honest. We don't control our own kids half the time, but you have a better chance of asking for our support and help than the teachers, because we're not their representatives.
Well, hopefully what we can do here, this is why this PAC is a really important vehicle, because I've always lived by kind of the mantra, and this is why I'm here in this position: don't complain about something unless you have a solution to offer. And I think that's really important that we as families and parents, we are recognizing, we have a unique experience. We can see where some of the problems or roadblocks are, and we are also in a position to offer that kind of feedback and ideas for solutions. So I hope that, Ellen, this is good stuff. I wish we would have had conversations throughout the year. I hope next year that there can be more conversation about identifying roadblocks and coming up with helpful solutions and ideas to help the rest of the families. I hope there's more conversation next year throughout the pack. We are on the SSD pack rep report. So perfect timing, Ellen. Is there anyone else from another district who'd like to report from their district or school?
One
Anyone who
second,
had?
really quick, can I interject? In the chat, there's a link for the attendance link. If you have not already, if you could fill out the link, whether you're a part of the pack or not, like if you're on the call, if you could click the link and fill out the information for record keeping. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Denise. And like, there's a comment from Maria Martinez that this what Ellen was describing isn't really the 100% issue at Bayless. So we do have differences in every district too, and they have a disconnect to realizing that there are dual districts, which seems to be a theme here. So, any other pack reps who'd like to speak up or share what's going on in their district, good things or problems?
Not necessarily a problem, but a kudo. We had our last event of the year. This is Christina Blankenship in Clayton, and I'm going to share a link in the chat. We had our annual Inclusion Awards on Tuesday, April 2nd, and it was a wonderful, wonderful evening. We had board members there. We had our superintendent there. We had student services there. We had building principals there. And we completely opened up our boardroom, which is divided usually into 2 rooms. We opened it all up and we were still standing room only. And not everybody that could have been there was there. So we were really thrilled. So we had basically 100 people or more there that evening. The kids were great. We recognize teachers and staff. We recognize students because we have a student champion for Inclusive Excellence Award. And then we also have visual arts contest. So if you go to that link that I put in the chat, which is on the Clayton School District website under parent support groups and then Parent Advisory Council for the Education of Students with Disabilities, you'll see our dashboard, and the very first icon and link is to that presentation from the evening, etc. And even though I'm going to continue to be on the SSD pack because my son is transitioning from the high school to a VSP program, which we are very excited about. We got our assignment letter last week, so excited. Megan Lenahan will be the Clayton Pack Ed president for the 2024-2025 school year. So we've been actively recruiting members for our building reps there. And we have a whole host of other great information. I always tell everybody, take a look at it, borrow it, steal it, I don't care, kind of thing. And then we have a section on here, I think I shared this with you before, Rebecca, we've always had something on there for SSD pack and staff and promote through there. So that's our update.
You're leaving quite a legacy, Christina. You've done wonderful work. Having a pack who does inclusion awards with the districts is pretty cool thing right there.
Yes, we're very fortunate to have such great support and great partnership. And, you know, a big shout out to the FACE department. You know, over the years, if people are questioning whether they should attend the Family Leadership Institute, I've been around long enough that I was in the pilot of that years ago. And I think that really helped to lay a good foundation for understanding the dual district system, services, how to best advocate for your student, who to go to for information, et cetera. And I think that's a really good foundation. So I highly encourage that. And the FACE department has always been there, very supportive with information and events and activities. They've helped us to bring Charting the Life course to our families in our district. And we always host such that we can include other districts as well. I mean, we've had people from Lindbergh and St. Charles and everything come to Clayton for that. So we are just very appreciative and have always felt, you know, lots of support from SSD as well. SSD providing to the PACs. Just to remind everybody, if you have a parent advisory council in your district, speak with Wendy Pendergrass. She will provide you with a Zoom account, which that helps you to connect with your other families and have events virtually, because it's sometimes the best, easiest way. And then, you know, you can also record any events that you had. Tamiko Jones came out and did an event with us, and we recorded that and, you know, put that also on our website for families to look at it later. So just the more channels, sometimes I know it's a lot of information, and I echo Ellen, sometimes it's just a lot and everything, but that's why we kind of put things in different spots, because that's how people run into stuff.
Thank you, Christina. And that's another reason that we did the DPAC data survey. We were hoping to have I'm hoping to have like a snapshot sheet of each district, you know, maybe a new district like Bayless with Maria, with the parent group name, what they're doing, how they're doing it. And that way everyone can see what the other parent groups are doing. And if you see a district, maybe you want to model from Clayton's Inclusion Award. So hopefully we can have something like that ready for the end of the year party. Thank you again, Christina. Anyone else from any other PAC reps want to report from their district before we go to Special Education Foundation Fund? I always say the wrong one. I'm looking for hands. I'm not seeing hands. Nope. Nope. Okay. Is Shannon still with us?
Shannon.
Okay. Shannon, you are up. Thank you for being with us this evening.
Yeah, thanks Rebecca for having us. We're very fortunate to be part of your PAC every month. Tib Eby is our executive director, is down in Florida at a National Education Foundation conference. So I'm just kind of filling in this month. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the program and communications manager, and Jill Salinas is actually on our call too. She's the events manager for Special Education Foundation. And for those of you who may not know who we are one of your partner resources. We are a nonprofit organization, and we work exclusively to help families that have students that are served by the special school district. And we have a lot of various programs. A lot of it is for financial support, and we rely on grants and private donations to help fund our programs. So one of the programs I want to highlight is the Fred Sy Leadership Academy. That is an academy that is designed for high school students that are looking to develop their leadership skills. And so we are actually accepting applications now through Friday. Our original deadline was back in February, but we do still have some open slots available. We select up to 20 kids per year, and they go take a 1 day a month out and go to visit different places in the community and listen to local leaders. They go visit the state capitol. They visited Sam Page's office. And then they come back well equipped to serve in leadership positions at their school. So we're certainly looking for some more students to apply, and teachers and also will help nominate those. So we've got some openings through this Friday. So we look for some more applications. Another thing I noticed on one of your surveys is that people are looking for camp resources. So one of the things that we provide is our Kid to Camp program. We help support families that want to send their kids to camp that may not have the financial finances to do that, or they need some extra support. So we help bridge that gap between the academic breaks. And so we accept applications year round for not just summer break, but we also do spring break and winter break. So we do have we're accepting applications now for summer. And also on our website, we do have a listing of some of the camps that these students are applying to go to. So the camps are up to you, but we help fund those. So if some of your families are looking for camp resources, I will put in the chat when I'm finished talking. I'll put some links to our website that gives you some of those camp resources if you're looking for those. We're also partnering with SSDs, kicking off next week. We are going to have a personal care drive, which coincides with our critical needs program. And that is directly helping to benefit SSD students by providing some personal hygiene items. So we're going to be doing a month-long personal care drive with SSD, kicks off on April 15th and runs all the way through May 17th. So all the donations that we generate will go directly to that personal care closet in the for SSD schools and students. And then we're also part of the, I know at the beginning you mentioned some of the events coming up. We are part of the Inspiring Futures. We're collaborating with SSD this year. We have 5 John Kerry scholarships that we're going to be giving out to those chosen students. They get $5,000. So there's 5 of those students. And then we also have a Christopher Davis scholarship that's designated to a Rittner student. And that's a $2,500 scholarship. So we will be partnering with you guys on May 9th for that Inspiring Futures event. So I'm going to put our website on the chat so everybody has some information. And if parents are looking for other communications, we do a 3 Things newsletter every Friday or Thursday and Friday. You can sign up for that or sign up to receive our communications because it's directly correlated to the things that are going on in SSD that we're a part of. So thanks again for having us. And if you guys ever have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Shannon, I have a quick question. If for kids that applied for the Leadership Institute, are you waiting to fill all the spots to let them know, or people who applied that didn't get in had been notified?
So right now we're still accepting those applications. What will happen is Debbie Smith, who was our coordinator, she's actually going to be going through and interviewing some of the families for those students that have applied. And then we will have a committee that makes a decision. So that usually is announced in the summer. Okay. And then we'll participate in next year's class. And then what's cool about that is every May, which is coming up May 1st, we have a graduation ceremony for those kids. And what's really neat is a lot of these kids come from across the entire county. They don't know each other. And by the time that they've met, 3 and 4 months in, they become really good friends. And what's neat about it is during the graduation, part of that is they learn the public speaking skills. So they actually get up in front of, the entire graduating class and the audience, and they speak for 3 to 5 minutes and share some of the things that they've learned, what's touched them the most. And it really does really just transforms them throughout the year. Some of these kids have never spoken in front of an audience before, and they get up there confidently, and then they get to introduce the next student who comes up to speak. So it's a really exciting program, and we like to see freshmen, sophomores, some juniors. We like to see those grades because then we can see them come back and actually utilize what they've learned and apply it by the time they're a senior. So.
Hey, Shannon.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to say with the John Kerry Scholarship, so those 5 students got $5,000, which is awesome. But to also the students that didn't necessarily get the scholarship, they also gave $100 because my son applied for that scholarship. So I just wanted to say thank you to that for the foundation for just even the consideration for that. That's super awesome because you don't really see that a lot. So I just wanted to give that shout out especially.
Thank you. Yes, we had so many amazing applicants, and we had 26 applicants, and we were only able to give 5 scholarships. And because all of them were so amazing, we were able to collect some funds to contribute $100 to those who did not receive the actual scholarship.
It's greatly appreciated. Every little bit helps as we're preparing for college. So thank you.
So I'll put some information in the chat regarding what I just talked about.
Thank you, Shannon. And you'll be coming to, someone will be coming to May 8th, right? Yourself or Tim?
We are certainly planning on being there, and we will bring a lot of our information as well. We've got some cards, and these are also, we try to get these out to all the partner districts. Any of the offices, the SSD central office, the Learning Center. We have lots of resources that are posted there, but if your schools are needing it, and we can certainly come out and get you those materials as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much again. Thanks for being here.
Sure.
Okay, we're wrapping it up. We're going quickly tonight. And it looks like we are up for public comments. And I last time I checked, there were no public comments. Denise, did you see any? We didn't have any last time I checked.
No, when I checked today, we didn't have any public comments. And then I just posted the plus deltas in the chat box. So if you have any great things we did, things we could work on, whatever that looks like, go ahead and fill that out. And then I will repost again the nomination form for the executive committee. So all is welcome. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Denise. Yes, please go ahead and fill out that self-nomination form for the executive committee. That's going to be at our May meeting to vote. And then the other agencies coming are the vocational rehab and the ARIA Foundation, along with SEF and Family Navigation. Okay. Thank you everyone once again for being here tonight. Thank you very much. So we had we were able to make quorum and get our friend Tamiko voted in. And thank you again to all the SSD PAC reps who renewed their membership. You're very appreciated. And of course, all the wonderful SSD leadership. Chief Pendergrass on top of the list for taking over for Superintendent Macklin as well tonight. And Adrian. Okay, so do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting this evening at 8:16 p.m.?
I'll make the motion to adjourn, as much as I hate to see it end.
You can always count on you, Dwayne. Do we have a second?
It's Maureen. I second it.
Thank you, Maureen. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. I hope to see all of you in person May 8th at Central Office for our last PAC meeting of the year. Thank you all very much. Good night.